We're live on video.
Sweet.
What's up?
Hi.
All right. Count us in, Aden.
3, 2, 1, record.
Welcome to the show, everybody. It's episode... I gotta get to the right slide. It's episode 91. Aden Richards, what's happening?
Not much. Enjoying reminiscing about some good Dota.
Can I pay you a compliment?
Sure.
You are the best Spectre player probably in this whole podcast.
I mean, you're not wrong. Is there a hero that you're better at me than me at?
Sniper, I think.
Yeah, it's plausible. Fucking hate
know.
that hero.
No, you're certainly better in the late game. I might be better in the first 3 minutes.
Dude, if I get 4 last hits in the first 3 minutes, I'm happy with fucking Sniper. God, I hate that hero.
Okay, no, I guess you're still better than I am. All right, when you say reminiscing about good Dota, what are you talking about? What are you thinking?
What about Dreamleague, man?
Fuck
good
yeah.
tournament.
It was a really good tournament.
Great tournament. Yeah, I'm excited to talk about it.
Yeah, man. Well, why don't we blast through some housekeeping?
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, alert listeners! There are alert listeners in our Discord who are making plans to meet up in Stockholm for TI10. There are go ahead.
Can I give a little story here about this?
Please.
Okay, so one of the reasons why I haven't been to a TI is that it's always like the first week of not school, but like the preschool week.
Yeah.
And it's ever since like TI5. And I wasn't like, and I should have gone to TI5, but TI6, 7, 8, 9, all just I couldn't go to them. I mean, I probably wouldn't have gone to Shanghai for TI9 anyways. But like Stockholm, totally like a reasonable place to go. Could probably get my wife to go. She could do other things. It would be great. But I just assumed it would be the wrong week. But they actually moved it back a week so I could go to it. Except I'm already going to ESL LA. And now I'm pretty sure I can't get away with going to 2 Dota tournaments in a year.
You're over budget already.
No, I'm so salty about it. Like the one year I could have actually done it.
Not like it's
bullshit.
The 10th anniversary of Dota or anything like that.
I know, but like, how was I supposed to know they were going to do it in a reasonable date? So disgusting. But anyways, for those of us who are going to Stockholm,
in our Discord, there are alert listeners making plans to meet up in Stockholm for TI10. There are also alert listeners making plans to meet us in Los Angeles for ESL1 LA, which is suddenly coming right up. I just bought my plane tickets.
Yep, same.
Yep. So that's
put on. No, we gotta find a place to stay. Yo.
Yeah, I was looking into it. The options are not amazing, but they're not terrible either.
Agreed.
Anyway, if you guys want to get in on that sort of conversation or get in on our watch parties, Discord's been really popping off lately. Thanks to mostly not thanks to us at all. It's thanks to the new admins. Much appreciated. Nestico.
Also,
Ask-a-Lect.
Yeah, agreed. They've done great. It also helps when there's things like TrueSight to talk about.
Yeah, man. I was so salty that I had a meeting that conflicted with that.
Yeah, I know.
If you want to get in on the Discord, it's easy to join. You can go to our website, glimpsepod.com, and there's a link right at the top of the page. If you're trying to find us online, you can also find us on Twitter. Aden is at OmegaManDota, and I'm at Shark Butler. And while you're browsing, you can also browse our merch. Audio engineer Jason asked me to thank alert listener and Discord admin Camouflage for buying a t-shirt. And I'll remind everyone who's listening to this that 100% of merch proceeds go to audio engineer Jason.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
What shirt did Camouflage get?
Glimpse Pod logo.
Nice. Like it.
Yeah, and if the Glimpse Pod listeners just buy 30 t-shirts a month, then they would be close to paying audio engineer Jason like market rate for what he does.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Yep.
I don't know.
I've done the math. It's true.
Okay. All right, cool. So what are we doing this episode?
All right. Coming up in this episode, we have our analysis of TrueSight. Speaking of OG, we've got Anna's leave of absence. I mean, nobody could have seen that coming, Aden.
No one.
Especially not Kent. Alert listener Kent.
True.
Sorry, buddy. We've got Jerax's retirement. The next level play.
Indeed.
We got Seb stepping back into some sort of a coaching role. Whatever you want to fuck him with, Seb, I'm with you. And we're going to tell Discord booster Josh how to get into Dota if you're a beginner. We're going to start this episode, though, in Leipzig, Germany, where Team Secret just won the second major of the DPC season, launching me into second place in the DPC Fantasy League and launching Team Secret themselves into third place in the DPC standings. So in the tournament, we had some...
Wait, hang on. You're in second. Who's in first?
Oh, that'd be the guy who picked Vici Gaming and EG.
Yeah.
Hey,
What's
listener
up?
Nestico, why did you leave EG hanging?
It's true.
Such a bad whiff by you, buddy. All right. We had some early surprises, like Navi beating EG, the aforementioned EG, and Team Liquid to finish first in Group D. A surprise like your defending major champions TNC finishing last in Group A behind Nigma, Fnatic, and Team Aster. But I have to say, Aden, once we got to the end of the tournament, all the faces were pretty familiar. Although it was surprising to see EG in the finals instead of Vici Gaming.
Sure. We got a little Discord theory on that one coming at you in a moment.
All right, but this is major analysis. It's time to go monkey mode, Aden.
Let's do it.
All right, and let's get into Secret versus EG. For a 5-game grand final, not the most exciting 5-game grand final I've ever seen.
There's something fascinating about Dota, which is that like I feel like some of the best series don't have the best games, and some of the best games happen in like just otherwise shitty series. Like when we were talking to Slacks, right? My favorite game maybe is that Ad Finum versus whoever it was game.
Boston Major.
Yeah, the Boston Major, and OG beat the shit out of them in the series. But that one fucking game was sick, you know. This series on the other hand was touch and go the whole way, except none of the games were that good.
I do wonder if there's like an oral history version we could watch where it's like similar to True Sight, where we just watch the drafts and then we just find the outcomes of the games. I feel like that could be better TV, honestly.
It wouldn't be bad. So actually, let's talk about that grand final. So we had I want to go through a question. So Dami from our Discord, he asked, which statement do you agree with more strongly? If you get outplayed hard enough, it doesn't matter how well you drafted. Or if you get outdrafted hard enough, it doesn't matter how well you play. In the context of pro games, not pubs.
I think at this level, in the grand final, it's the latter. If you get outdrafted hard enough, it doesn't matter how well you play. But at virtually every other level of Dota, including like the top 6, top 8, top 12 matches in these majors, it's more about how you play and less about how you draft.
Right. I mean, I just like there's the point. Like, I mean, EG. I think in the grand finals, you're totally right. EG and Secret were both playing well, and as soon as one of them got the edge, like they just shit on the other team, right? Yeah. And it wasn't like I think with the exception of maybe Game 5. I think it would be hard to argue that any of the teams played badly in a game. They just got outdrafted. I mean, you can look at Game 1. You could argue Game 1 was like reasonably close. I actually thought Secret's draft was really well. It was pretty good. And EG, and it was actually close for a while. EG kicked their ass. But Game 2, Secret Meepo, outdrafted. Game 3, pretty sure that's an outdraft by EG.
Oh, yeah. Secret had no answer for the Naga, even though they...
Naga or the Storm. What the fucking doing to the Storm there?
Absolutely.
Game 4.
Either way. That was the last pick, Leshrac for Nisha, which you and I both questioned. We were like, really? Leshrac on Nisha? And he went fucking ham. So I mean, the puppy knew better than we did. Believe it or not.
That's true. That's true. But I also throw a little bit of the God, who asked this question earlier? Like EG knew that Slark was shit by that in the bracket stage, and yet they drafted Slark. We talked about in the Discord. Slark had a good win rate in the group stage and a terrible win rate in the bracket bracket, and both times it lost.
Well, let's go straight to the Slark. Well, all right. So let's finish by talking about Game 5, which was definitely the most interesting draft. The last pick, Batrider for Team Secret. The last pick, Viper. Boy, Viper, not an Abed hero. Sorry, Fly. That was not the right pick. I think.
Nope, not the right pick. And but again, pretty much an outdraft, you know what I mean? Like,
and that game was a stomp. It was much more an outdraft than it was an outplay.
Yeah,
as was basically every game in that series. So to our point, fun series from a theory crafting perspective. The games themselves, not a single one was epic.
What did I say about game 2, the Nisha game? I was like, I was in the Discord with a couple other people, and I was like half paying attention. And I'm pretty sure I was like just saying to Camouflage, being like, can we just like fast forward 20 minutes? Like, yo, like I didn't need to watch anything that's happening from this point on.
We get it.
Yeah, you're gonna win. Got it. Cool.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, and so this is one thing I really appreciated about what Secret did, which was they set the Slark meta in the group stage, played it both games against Vici Gaming, and I think did they play it both games against Beast Coast too? No, they didn't. They probably got it banned against them against Beast Coast. Anyway, so you're right. They played Slark and loved Slark in the group stage and then pivoted away from it in the main event. And so, Aden, what is your story about Slark in this tournament? Because I know my version of it. Go ahead.
I just felt like the heroes that were getting the people just had figured out enough heroes against him. That was sort of my bottom line. I mean, there are heroes that deal with Slark, and he became just like the hero of the moment. And like, Dota is the great thing about Dota, right? Is that almost never is a hero so overpowered there's no counter.
Yeah. And
Slark is a good hero, but they're just heroes that counter. That was my feeling. Is like, you look at the grand finals, like the 2 wins against him, one of them AoE damage from Leshrac, which is and Enchantress against Slark, which is a good it's not a great matchup, but it's a pretty decent matchup. Tiny's good against him, AoE damage. In the other game, up against a Doom, and I actually think Razor's pretty solid against Slark too.
Yep.
But also Nyx Assassin, kind of a pain in the ass to Slark. I just thought there's a pretty decent job drafting against him.
Well, absolutely. And there's also a discussion I think to be had about the evolution of the meta. Because the group stage meta was, I thought, an excellent continuation of the Bukovel Minor. And the Bukovel Minor, winning that minor was all about being able to engage and disengage at will. And Slark is a great hero if that's your main goal.
True. Right.
And as we progressed through the tournament, I saw an evolution of the meta away from kiting, for lack of a better term. And I don't know how to describe the grand finals meta, because it was so back and forth, but being able to quickly exit a fight was not the number one thing you needed.
No, absolutely not. No, I think there's
a lot about initiation. Go ahead.
Initiation, and also the ability to farm jungle. You look at actually those games, like there's a very strong, almost every win has a lot of flash farming potential. Game 1, TA wins. Game 2, Meepo wins. Game 3, you've got Storm and Naga, both flash farmers. Game 4, you've got Leshrac and Morphling. It was sort of I think there's a little bit of that. And I think that both EG, especially over time, really went to a sort of a more economic meta. Although we're going to talk about how some weird things I noticed about them.
Yeah, the economic stats, I agree, were conflicting, confusing at times. By the way, thanks to the Modern Marvels on Twitter for that Slark question.
Yeah.
Also, quick stat for you: top 3 highest KDAs in the tournament. Nisha and Matumba Man, not surprising. Yapzor being number 1, fewest deaths in the tournament. Though it was funny to see, just because like that's a caricature of the play style we attribute to Yapzor. And
okay, but Yapzor is regularly like number 2 on Secret at a tournament. All right, I'm not that shocked by it. I've talked about this so many times.
I hear you. Anyway, I just enjoyed seeing it.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk a little bit more Secret. Just a little play style stuff about them. They're very team. Like Puppy is. I don't always say Puppy's the best captain. I think he has some flaws, although he's corrected many of them. But one of the things I do think is that he's very flexible in terms of like he doesn't care what play style his teams play. Like unlike a PPD who seems to have a much more like set like way of thinking about Dota. One interesting thing is like they were very much a 10 to 20 minute team. You look at all the important stats, kills, deaths, net worth, XP. They're pretty average at 10 minutes. And then you look at their stats at 20 minutes. I don't think they had the top kills, but they had the best kill to death ratio. They were second in gold net worth and second in XP. That means they're getting the most out of that 10 to 20 minute mark. And that speaks to me not of like an understanding of Dota. Like we always talk about how the lanes are important. And I think really what Secret's philosophy is the lanes
is
like,
critical.
yeah, exactly. They don't want to lose the lanes, and then they want to turn that into, and then they're going to figure out how to outmaneuver you around the map.
Yes.
And that's what they do, and they're really good at it. They're even the number one. I mean, they're the number one tower pushing team also by 20 minutes. So that's definitely what they do.
Well, before you move off of kills and deaths, Secret number one in kills, number one fewest deaths, and the highest kill to death ratio I've ever seen since I started calculating the stat. 17 kills for every 10 deaths.
Were they the number one in kills?
Yeah.
Huh. Oh, it was close. I mean, I just thought there were a bunch of other teams who had high kill just because they played longer games and like very just like Nigma was close, but
For
that's
sure.
just
Yeah.
had bloodbaths. I thought Fnatic might have been up there, but they're not quite. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Very cool.
Anyway, so then the other question was from Descartes. This might be a weird one, but why is Zai so good? I mean, he's just amazing. He wins every MVP award, and it seems like he's the only Western offlaner who's killing it at the moment. Love the question, Descartes.
All right.
I don't know how I feel about it though.
There's a real question here. I mean, in some ways, I want to say he's not really an offlaner in like the traditional sense. The position 3. Like, what is his net worth versus YapzOr's? You know, like honestly, I think it might be higher, but it's like really not, and that's traditional for him. I mean, the same thing was true with Optic, at least initially before he went full on 4. But if you look at where's he?
If you look at his net worth at 25 minutes, he is definitely closer to YapzOr than he is to Matumba Man.
Yeah, sure. YapzOr is like 15% of his team's net worth. And what's Zai? 19%. Okay, so that's a bigger differential than I thought. But Zai is on the low end certainly for position 3. And I mean, like, you know, and it tells. I mean, like, you know, when we think about like, you know, position 5s, we say like, oh yeah, it's great when a position 5 tanks the gank and everything like that. I feel like to some extent Zai tanks ganks for his team. You know, he's willing to do that, and like that's his role, and he's really good at his role. I mean, that's one of the, you know, there's the old thing about how Zai used to only play random in matchmaking, which is why his MMR wasn't as high. But like, I feel like in some ways that's just like that's what he does. He plays like it's like, you know,
12 heroes in like 14 games in this tournament.
Right. Well, there's that as well, but like it's more like you randomize his role in any game, and he's just gonna roll with it. He didn't care.
No, I agree with that. And this, so the interesting thing here for me is like I've had this hypothesis going for the last 6 or so months that that the best 3 positions is not really a core role. It's more of a support role. And I feel like Ramses is the exact opposite of this. Like Ramses is a core 3, and Zai is a support 3, and it appears to work really well both ways.
Sure. I would say Ramses, yeah, it worked out well when Ramses was a core. When he wasn't a core, it didn't work as well.
I see what you're saying, and maybe we can flesh that out a little bit. I'm good to move off Secret if you'd like to talk about EG here.
Yeah, let's. I mean, it's like one example of this is like Game 4 of the Grand Finals. Ramsey was playing Batrider.
Yeah,
he went 2-10-3. It's not great.
Not a Ramses hero.
Not a Ramses game. Let's talk EG here. So one of my things, and this is what I think about interesting about stats, is we look at games. We have the eye test, and my eye test for EG was like, wow, they don't really care about whether they win or lose in terms of kills. They're gonna out farm you. Abed's gonna get it. Like, doesn't matter if he wins or loses with TA in the lane. He's gonna out farm you. I think it was against Alliance, right? Alliance wrecked them or at least held even in the lanes, and it just didn't fucking matter. EG was somehow ahead of net worth, despite the fact that like Limp had killed Abed twice. You know, it just didn't matter. But on the other hand, like the actual stats show, they were not a particularly good economic team. Very average. So that's sort of confusing. They also didn't push very well. They were 12th in the tournament and gold from towers at 20 minutes. It just shows, like, I mean, they're not getting a whole lot in that first 20 minutes. But at the same time, that they averaged the 4th shortest games. So I'm a little bit confused there. If anyone has any theories about that, let me know. Lorton, you first, actually. Got time here?
Well, sure. I mean, I think this is something about Power Spike Gaming where they were trying really hard to hit like right around a 30-minute timing, and right around 30 minutes was when they would just kind of flip the switch and go.
Mm-hmm.
But But while I have the floor, Aiden, I would like to reprimand you for shitting all over my context setting question here. This is Fly's first major grand final since when? Fly, who we have long considered one of the best captains in Dota history, much less like best captains alive.
I mean, it's got to be that last season with him and Anna. Like, was that Kiev?
Yeah, that was the day he broke your heart. The Kiev Major, when he
Fuck.
and Anna shit all over your boys VP in that game 5. Actually, sorry, it was really your boys VP through that game 5 real hard.
There you go. That's the one.
That was, by the way, that was the second best true sight ever, in my opinion. Was the true sight of that grand final.
Yeah, that was rough. I did not like it.
I'll bet you didn't. All right, sorry. Not to derail. So yeah, Fly, first time in a grand final in a long time, since 2017. But boy, we were concerned about the loss of Sumail, being a slight downgrade to Abed. We were potentially optimistic about the S4 to Ramses transition. I like this EG team for the rest of the season.
I do too. So I drafted them. And by the way, we're not giving them a short shift. We're going to talk about Abed. We're going to do a team of the tournament. So like I have a lot of thoughts on individual members of EG, but I'm going to save it for there. They're going to come up. All right, sound good?
Good deal.
All right.
Yeah, so Vici Gaming, again, for context sake, they were on a razor thin margin to getting to this grand final. They won game 2 of the lower bracket final pretty convincingly, I thought, and then I would say probably got out drafted in game 3, but they were close, and they were arguably the best team in the world going into this tournament, and third place is no
sure, and it was a little bit surprising. I mean, they made a challenge there, but they also got smashed by Secret. Well, maybe smashed out the door. They got beaten
by Secret both times. So yeah, I mean, Secret's the best team there.
So there was a little bit of theory, and they didn't look as quite as, and the stats don't bear it out. They didn't look quite as clean as they had in previous tournaments where they'd won. Particularly Eurus. I mean, he's usually just like the least deaths. He and Ori didn't look as good as usual. I would say particularly. I thought he had a little bit of a weak tournament for him. And so it brought to our attention, right? They are from the region that the coronavirus is in, right? Is that the story? And so they're like, is that a distraction for them? And the answer is, who knows? I'm not in their, mindset. I have no idea if they're they've had any news about their family at this point. But the timing does line up. But the one thing I will say that sort of sits against is Vici looked like they lost a Secret in the group stage, but other than that, looked pretty dominant. They beat IG, reasonably close series. They beat EG. They looked pretty good. But if you actually look at their underlying stats and stuff like that, Vici Gaming is regularly known for having really, really good underlying statistics, like kills and deaths.
The fundamentals.
Similar to Secrets, it's they're probably typically close to what Secrets was this one. And if you ignore the last even just 2 series, the 2 ones they lost at the end there, over the course of the tournament, their stats are nowhere near as good as they were at Chengdu.
Mm-hmm.
So I want the answer may be that they were not looking as good early, and who knows what that's called. But I don't think there was a dramatic drop off halfway through the tournament for them. The underlying statistics are too similar. I mean, they go down because they lost, but they coming into those series, the number of teams whose just numbers look better. Alliance, Secret, Na'Vi, and IG all had much better numbers coming into the latter half of the bracket. So, not sure it was great.
Right on. Yeah, I mean, my read on this, Vici Gaming's still a very good team. It wasn't their day.
Yeah, sure. I mean, no doubt they're going to be among the favorites for what's next? ESL 1 LA. We're going there. Yeah, they're going to be the favorites. One of the favorites. I forgot.
You're going to get to see your boy Paparazzi get wrecked again.
Sure. You're going to bring your puppy jersey?
Fuck yeah.
Okay, just checking.
I'm thinking about buying one of those track jackets too. We'll see.
All right, let's do a really brief. Let's talk about Alliance. Alliance 4th place finish. That's higher than we thought was going to happen. I got a theory here. I don't know if you want to share your theory, but I got a theory.
I mean, they got a little lucky with their matchups. Navi in the
Yeah.
first round of the upper bracket.
That's the theory.
And then Team Liquid is in their in the 5-6 match where they prevailed in a narrow victory over Team Liquid, and then got completely shit stomped by EG. So I mean, the Alliance, they continue to be who we thought they were.
They beat
the highest floor and lowest ceiling in Dota.
They beat one team who was finished in the top half of the tournament, and they lost to 3. Mm-hmm. So that's pretty much what you expect. Usually that doesn't get you to 4th place. This time it did.
Yep.
So not great.
If we were unsure whether they have sealed their TI invites, they have sealed their TI invites, as have Team Liquid.
Yeah, agreed. Well, do we want to do our little Beast Coast segment? Because we always feel like we always got to do a Beast Coast segment.
You got to check in on Beast Coast. I love watching this team. I still love watching this team. And did I detect that their fundamental stats looked a little better than they usually do?
Yeah. Real talk here. Are we sure Lelis isn't like really good for them?
Wait, sorry. Are you trying to shit on him, or are you trying to build him up?
I've been a little skeptical. Whisper. I thought Lelis played well.
I like it. No, he had that one Legion Commander game that I thought his duels especially were on point.
Yeah, no, good. But here's the other dirty secret about Beast Coast here. They can't beat good teams, and they crush bad teams.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they were 0-6 in matches, not in series, in matches. They didn't take a single map off of teams that finished in the top 6. That would be their matchups against IG, and their matchups against Vici and Secret. Didn't take a game off of those guys. And like, that's not like, there's no shame in that, but like, I just think that this is the East Coast, maybe a team that's got a little bit of that ceiling where they can't quite get into they never seem to finish in the top 4, right? Maybe if they got really lucky like Alliance did, they could beat a Team Liquid to finish in the top 4. Right. But they do have a ceiling. They are some of the scrappiest and like entertaining Dota players, but they just make a few too many mistakes and the best teams beat them.
Right. Fastest pace of play, which is fun, but only 8 kills for every 10 deaths. And that's tough. Those 10 deaths are coming largely against the better teams. Although you could see a narrative within Beast Coast where they beat Nigma to advance to the top 8. And, that's beating 4 TI champions and 5 two-time TI grand finalists. So you can see a narrative within their organization that they're continuing to make progress. And for their own psychology, I hope that's the case.
By the way, I mean, like, just to be clear, a team that consistently finishes in the top 8 of a major is a fucking successful Dota team.
Hell yeah.
But like, we need to temper our expectations. Like, I don't think they're close to like winning a major. If that makes sense.
Yep. Sorry, Vikram.
Yeah, it sucks. I mean, I would love to, like, them winning a major would be hugely entertaining. It would not be bad for us. It would be great for us, as like Dota fans and discussers. But I just think it's going to happen.
So we got to hit Fnatic.
Sure, we got a few quick hits. Let's do them. Let's knock them out here. So Fnatic,
dude. All right, number 2 in GPM in the tournament, number 1 in net worth at 25 minutes, and yet they finished 9th to 12th. So
and did they beat a single good team?
Well,
they beat Aster twice.
A good team.
They lost to Secret. They lost to TNC Predator.
They lost to Secret and took a game off Secret. They took a game off TNC. So my question to you, Aden, actually is: let's say they had gotten any other matchup in the 9 to 12 spot, like if any of those other lower bracket teams, would they have beaten Beast Coast?
Hard to say.
I think they could have, certainly.
Sure.
What about,
could they have beaten
Aster? They did.
They did. I think they would have been favored there. Could they beat Liquid? They could. I'm not calling that one. Yeah. I mean, Liquid.
So I think. So all I will say about this is I think TNC was the worst matchup they could have gotten, the least favorable matchup they could have gotten, and they lost it. So if I'm a Fnatic fan, I'm not, and they're on my fantasy team, by the way. I am not panicking.
Okay, so you want to let's say, I want to take a little bet here. I think Fnatic is the team. We talked about like what team would coming in here is most likely to fall apart or like make changes.
Yeah.
Of the good teams, and like we said, not many good teams or anything like that. But I believe we specifically mentioned Fnatic as a team that had a chance of dropping out. What do you think the odds are right now that Fnatic? What is it, like a week away for ESL 1 regional maybe open qualifiers is a week away? When Fnatic plays at regional qualifiers, what do you think the chances are they made a change?
I'm going to go on the low end here, like 25% chance. What do you put it at?
I think that's probably right. How much does it rise if it's made a change before the major or minor that they get to?
I mean, not a ton, because I think if they were going to change, they would do it fast. And
on the other hand, I mean, like they're pretty much like, why rush? They're pretty much guaranteed to get through to. I mean, they've crushed every Southeast Asia tournament or every qualifier.
That's true, and and there's not an obvious player who would A, be kicked, or B, be picked up. So
right. I mean, like who are the players who are better than on those teams? They're on TNC, like Gabby or Armel. They'd probably consider picking up. Although Moon's been a little disappointing. Abed they'd take for sure. Yep. Not available. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I mean, I don't think they're going to make a change. I fully agree. Not going to make a change, but it is interesting. I was bullish on Fnatic coming into the season, and I've been disappointed.
Well, let's remember what happened with Fnatic last year. They had 4 tournaments where they did about like this, and then they had one tournament that they got 3rd.
That's true. That's true.
Right. I mean, this seems par for the course.
Right, but I think this Fnatic team's better than last year's Fnatic team, to be totally honest.
Yeah, it is. It's a little better, but
I thought it would be better.
Right, the personnel appear a little better. Anyway.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Sure. Okay. Quick hit on Na'Vi. So, Na'Vi, their numbers aren't great. I mean, they were a huge surprise.
So, what did they do? They made the upper bracket. They beat EG in the very first
and Liquid,
match,
and then Liquid,
and
that's
Liquid.
Two top 4, 5, 6 teams. 2 top 6 teams, and then they lost to Alliance in a close match and lost to Liquid. So overall, they went 2-2 against Liquid. Yes, 2-2 in maps versus Liquid. They beat EG 2-1, and they lost to Alliance 2-1. Mm-hmm. So I was going to say is like looking at this, like they finished 9-12. On the other hand, they've played 4 series.
Encouraged by this performance, then they are thinking about it wrong.
Right. They played 4 series against all 4 series against teams that finished in the top 6, and they went 2-2 in that. Yeah. Like Beast Coast would love that record against top 6 teams, right? Like,
oh yeah.
No, I'm very much into it. Now, their underlying stats aren't good, but I attribute part of that to the fact that they played really tough games. You know, it's one thing to sit there and be like, oh, you know, like my GPM sucked against Reality Rift and that series against Reality Rift. Like that's different saying like, well, our GPMs weren't great. You know, we didn't have a great kill to death ratio against Alliance. Well, no shit. Like, you know, you're probably not as good as Alliance, but you're a legitimate threat. I think you are. Are we gonna call them the best team in CIS? In CIS? Hard to argue.
It's a low bar. Yeah.
Hard to argue. Yeah. So should we do our regular postmortem on VP?
We have to, Aiden. This is your team. All 5 of their games I noted. So they only played 5 games. That was all they had the privilege of playing. All 5 of their games were even at 20 minutes.
Yeah. So they very clearly played a style of let's make sure our lanes don't go to shit.
Yeah.
And their lanes didn't go to shit. They rocked their lanes. No one was the number 1 net worth at 10 minutes. They had the number 2 XP at 10 minutes, number 1 in net worth. Like I think, and then their XP, their placement in the XP, not in gold so much, but in the XP, right? So if you know about Dota's like thing like that, like XP is far more volatile from fights than gold.
Correct.
You lose a fight at 15 minutes, you might lose like 3k gold advantage, maybe maximum if you get like team wiped. But your XP disadvantage might drop by like 5,000 or 6,000. Mm-hmm. So you see when the XP plummets way faster than the net worth advantage, that's because they're losing fights. And man, they lost fights. It did not go well. I mean, like literally the only good thing that happened with them was when they almost thrown Alliance or almost thrown Liquid and then didn't. That was the best moment. And that was rough. So not great. And word on the street is they're making changes. So
yeah.
I hope so.
There's one stat that really stuck out to me. I started calculating kill participation, and you know who is number 1 in the entire tournament in kill participation?
Epic Kid.
Yep.
Yeah, I knew.
Yeah, you did know. You may have seen it in my notes, but or you
I
may
knew
have just
beforehand.
seen it in the spreadsheet. Anyway, you don't want your Aiden, could you explain why you don't want your carry to be number 1 in the entire tournament in kill participation?
So I was going to talk about this later. Secret top Nisha and Matama Man, very low on kill participation. You know what's great about that? It means the rest of your team get fucking kills without you. You know what VP couldn't do? Get kills without everybody there.
Well, exactly.
They sucked at it, and that's
he
bad.
should have been farming. He was fighting.
Yeah,
and probably felt like he had to be.
Yeah.
So that's not awesome.
That's not great. Also, Phantom Lancer was first banned against them in all 5 matches or maps. I predicted that. It was not a hard prediction. Anyone could have predicted that. And guess what? They lost them all.
Stop banning Phantom Lancer against him. How
stop knowing they only have Epikid only plays one good hero.
How rude. All right. Before we get to the team of the tournament, I just wanted to touch on Team Liquid real quickly. Team Liquid, sure. I mean, they continue to be who we thought they were, with this one little storyline that just keeps nagging them, which is where they get a huge lead and can't close it out, to the point where they're playing against VP, this team that we just shit all over. Well, that took them 72 minutes to close out.
They had a 60K net worth game, I believe.
81 minutes to close out. Even against TNC, 54 minutes. 57-minute game against Alliance. I mean, this this shit is real. And they talked to Blitz about it. I mean, it was so much fun to have Blitz as coach and talent at this major. But he was saying, like, they pushed too early in one game early in the tournament, and so they decided as a group, we're never going to let that happen again. If we get ahead and we're not sure if we're ready to go high ground, we're just going to keep farming.
I mean, Blitz knows all, but that's terrible strategy.
I agree.
Like, you should never have one rule for that. It's all situations, right? The rule should never be delay, always delay. Sometimes that's the right choice, but like, it's always situational. I'm sorry. Silly.
I agree.
All right.
Okay. All right. Let's name a team of the tournament. Dare I look at how long we've gone?
35 minutes. Yeah, it could be worse. Could be worse. So we can rock through this. We're only naming one team. I'm ready. Are you ready?
I'm fairly ready. And I actually think that we should start in the 5 position and work our way backward. I think it'll be easier. What do you think?
Now my notes are backwards.
No. Okay.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Position 5 is fine.
The name of this game is let's do everything that Aden wants to do.
Position 5 is fine. Just warn me next time.
It just crossed my mind because carry and mid I found to be the toughest to name for me. But the captain, I think it's Puppy. Fight me.
I'm not going to fight you on that. I will say this. I want to throw a little bit of a nod out there to Fada. If only because, like, if you want to look at the team's placement, who overachieved the most? Now, to be fair, they didn't have great matchups. They beat better teams. But, like, what team overachieved by the most?
Alliance.
Arguably Alliance. I mean, you could also argue to some extent EG, but that's like one place. So that's a big place. Jumping from third to a very close second is a big upgrade. But yeah, I mean, sure, it's got to be Puppy. Like, it's they were by far the best team. Like, the only time they were really challenged was that grand finals. And yeah, okay, I'm good.
Right on. Okay, so let's go to the support, or the other support position. And I love Yapsor, and I feel like when Secret does great, we give the first round of credit to Puppy, which means Yapsor is relegated to second or third team every time. Although this time, I think it's probably justified, especially because of how much I love Crit and how good he was this tournament.
Right. So this is a classic thing. Like, Yapsor, without a doubt, every tournament is going to have the best stats for a 4 position. Yep. It's going to happen. Like, it's not arguable. On the other hand, everyone sits there and is like, Yapsor is one of the best players in the world. And they also agree that Crit is one of the best 4 position players in the world, if not like the best. We even had this discussion. I think you commented that you thought maybe he was the best non-1-2, non-carry, non-position mid in the game. And yet Crit's stats are kind of garbage. Like, I don't want to say garbage. Like, they're on the low end of position 4s. And that's just like, it tells you what the position 4 role just cannot be entirely encapsulated with stats. And when I'm watching that game, or those games, and I'm thinking, the question, of course, always is like, the question I always end up asking myself is like, in what order would I rank the player's importance on Secret?
Yeah.
Yapsor at best third, in my opinion.
Right,
most important player.
And it's tough because like the reason Team Secret is successful is that each player has a role, and the role is unique and distinct, and they play their roles really well, and the roles are suited to the people who fill them. So I mean, those are all strengths of Team Secret, but it does make it tough to compare Yapzor against Crit or PYW or Hanskin. By the way, I'm eliminating PYW from this award.
Sure.
PYW, I had a stat. Sorry.
Stats were not great.
Lowest kill participation of any player on the top 4 teams. And by the way, do you know who most highest kill participation typically goes to 1 and 2 players because they're participating a lot, especially at the end of the game. Do you want to know who the only support in the top 5 players in the top 4 teams was?
I want to guess that it actually was on Alliance. Is Hanskin?
It was not. Hanskin was low. It was Crit.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Oh, nice.
So, yeah.
Nice.
I want to name Crit to our team of the tournament.
I am totally on board with that. I'm gonna throw one out there. All right. We already talked about VP against Alliance or Liquid. We should talk about Liquid's hold to Boxy and Taiga versus 4. Was it 4 of them? 3 of them? At that Taiga did 15k damage in a single fight. In that single base hold. 15k as a support. I actually don't recall a core ever doing 15k damage in a single fight. I mean, I'm sure it's happened, right?
Of course, yeah.
But 15k damage in a single fight, like that's more than most teams do in a single fight.
Well, I mean, that's more than there is HP to go around, except at the very, very late game.
Yeah. Nuts. Crazy. But yeah, no, I mean like that's one game that may have been the single most impactful one player play in the entire tournament in terms of like how it affected results, but you know, it's cool.
Right on.
All right.
So
position 3.
Crit. Position 3. I think it's your boy Ramses.
Interesting. I do not have it for my boy Ramses.
Okay. Make your case. Who you got?
So let's talk about the options here.
Yeah.
Zai for sure, and he's an option.
Yep.
Ramses is an option. You know, position 3. 33 is on the board, but he and Yang, I'm putting them as just a notch behind the 2. But they should be mentioned. They're in there.
Yes.
But here's where I'm going. I'm going JT. I'm a JT man.
Love JT. And by the way, IG, I thought for a team that finished as quote unquote poorly as they did, they were only top 6. Their fundamental stats looked great. I thought they had especially difficult matchups. Vici Gaming, EG.
That's always the teams they lost to. Vici Gaming and EG, all tournament.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? I mean, I think they were the 4th best team there.
Yep. I think even Fada knows they were the 4th best team there.
Yep, he would admit it. All right, so the Ramses, it was good. Here's the thing. Ramses' best games were outstanding. Some of those Timbersaw games were out of this world. On the other hand, I felt like he just didn't like, and maybe this is partially Fly's fault. You could argue that it's not Ramses' fault, but he is not an offlaner who plays some heroes. And it plays particularly, not necessarily a hero specifically, but plays role where it's not as farm bully intensive. He wants to bully people. Timbersaw. He was not great on Batrider. We already talked about that. And so then, you know, I mean, in some ways I want to go back to the stats here. You know, JT, number 1 in KDA among all position 3s. He was number, and he was the 2nd in the bracket. So I mean, it wasn't just like in the early game. Like we're counting those losses in the bracket. He was number 2. Yang, it turns out, was number 1, which was weird because I didn't think he had that great a tournament. He was number 1 in kills among all offlaners. 5.3 kills overall to Ramses 3.8. You know, so I'm not. It's hard for me to say it, but like I watched Ramses and I was looking for someone to give the award to other than Ramses, and I love Ramses, but I was looking for somebody else.
Well, I like the JT pick because it does give a nod to IG, who we both thought played better than they finished.
Yeah. I mean, again, you just look at the KAL.
Yep.
4.83 for him. Ramses 2.63. That's a huge difference.
Yep, it is.
I just think it's enough.
I dig it. All right.
Okay.
So now we're moving to the core positions here, and in the mid, you got Nisha, you've got Abed, and then Ori and Limp. I mean, it's got to be between.
And by the way, let's mention Emo again. I don't think he won this one. I'm not giving it to him, but like he deserves to be in the conversation.
No, I agree with you. But this one has to be between Nisha and Abed.
Yes.
And I find this one a really difficult decision because I mean both of these guys were absolutely critical to the way their teams played, but I think for me Abed is going to narrowly edge out Nisha because I don't think they're winning these games without Abed's Storm Spirit.
All right, so let me talk through. I got an argument set up. I was ready. If you were going to pick Nisha over Abed, I was ready to argue you out of it, and I'm ready to support you. I'm going to make you feel better about your choice here. Okay, so first off, overall tournament, Nisha's stats are way better than Abed's, no doubt about it. Well, but you know what? Fuck the overall tournament.
Nisha is the one position on Team Secret, which he plays from the mid.
All right, but whatever. I don't worry about that. Yeah, he's the one position. Whatever, I don't care. That's not important. But you look at just the bracket. I narrowed down to the bracket. Their kill to death ratios in the bracket are basically indistinguishable. 6.54 and 6.58.
Okay,
right there, indistinguishable. So it doesn't the bracket's what matters. Like EG and they both made the upper bracket. Who the fuck cares? Abed, fewest deaths per game in bracket play. Looking just at the final day when EG matched up and went, what was it, 4-4 overall on the final day? Yeah, 4-4 on the final day. All right, so it's not like they had some great record or anything like that. He had the best KDA on the final day. In just the finals, he had a better KDA than Nisha, even though Nisha won 3 games. Nisha had the 13th highest kill participation rate of all mid players. Abed's was number 3 in the tournament. Okay, Abed, like if we go back to the idea of like these two guys are really close stat wise, and like they're both great performers. Abed was the best player on EG.
No, absolutely.
Nisha was not the most valuable player on the best team.
I agree.
All right, there it is. Do you feel better now about the pick?
Yeah, I do.
Sure. All right.
And so that means for me, I mean, I think Carry is a slam dunk for Matumba Man because, you and I both speculated about, Mid One, an incredibly talented player and plays a really specific role on Team Secret, kind of like I was referring to, a space creating, somewhat selfless core. Could Matumba Man possibly fill those shoes? And it turns out he plays just like Mid One, like his Monkey King plays. Oh my god, I loved it.
Yeah, this guy. I mean, like you could sit there. Like the real issue here is who are the contenders. I mean, I don't think you could argue that Abed and Nisha both were better than Matumba Man. If you wanted to set it up, like you can make that argument
easily.
Sure. But if you just compare it to the other cores, Matumba Man was number 2 in kills, number 3 in KDA. Eurus, down tournament for him. Nowhere near the stats we were expecting from him. Yep. Usually he's like 8 or 9 kills and like about 2 deaths.
Well, right. And if you just look at the early game, then Eurus is his normal self. But it was right past the 25-minute mark. Vici Gaming, just not the same team.
Yep. I mean, who else is up there? Arteezy?
Sure. Nico Baby?
Yeah, I mean, sure. Nico Baby? Yeah, he was the best player in his team. But they were a lucky 4th.
Right? And I mean, and Fly.
Again,
we think he's getting carried by JT and Emo.
Yeah. I mean, he's the 3rd best core on that team. And JT is I know we talk about 3 player. JT's a core 3.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, Matumba Man all the way. Done.
All right. So carry Matumba Man, mid Abed, offlane JT, support Crit, and Captain Puppy for our team in the tournament.
You know what, real talk here? I like having 2 EG and 2 Secret teams. You could say Secret was the best team in the tournament, but they went. It was a damn close grand finals, and I'm happy having 2 players from each. All right, Aiden.
I would like to remind our listeners. Excuse me. Oh, I better clear my throat for this one.
Let's do it.
I think I'm even going to take a drink of water.
Oh wow. I'm waiting with bated breath.
I'd like to remind our listeners that The Glimpse is brought to you by OutdoorGamingPCs.com. Aiden, have you ever been headed to your outdoor gaming rig, but then realized you didn't want to sit still for the next 3 hours?
No, because I don't have an outdoor gaming rig. But if I did, I can definitely imagine not wanting to sit still. If I'm going outside to play video games, I want to move around.
Yeah, sometimes you just want to move your body, get the blood pumping. But if you're like the outdoor gamers that we've talked to, you don't just want to take a walk. You're looking for more. Well, OutdoorGamingPCs.com is introducing a new product, and I'm going to guess you're not going to be able to live without it. We're talking about a lightweight, wireless, augmented reality headset. I'm talking about the brand new 4K HD Snapfire AR goggles. When you wear the Snapfire AR, you're going to see the real world, but better. You'll see the real world minus those painful UVA and UVB rays that can damage your vision. These polarized, gray-tinted polycarbonate lenses with 40% visible light transmission give you excellent optical clarity, no color distortion. So when you see your outdoor surroundings, you're seeing true, vibrant color with no glare. And the full-size frames make sure there's minimal light leakage from the top, the bottom, and the sides. So don't just take a walk in reality. Go for Snapfire augmented reality. Available exclusively at OutdoorGamingPCs.com, proud sponsor of The Glimpse.
Ooh, I like it. I like it. I might have to get some of those. Do they fit over glasses?
Yeah, if you want the granny model, we can absolutely
Excellent.
fit over glasses. I need those too.
All right. Okay. Very cool.
Okay. Time to watch, or time to talk about True Sight.
Let's talk about True Sight.
It's just a scrim, guys. Yeah, a costly scrim.
Look, all right. So, True Sight, emotional, right? It's always great to have these insights to this. But I told you this. I'm gonna give the unpopular position. Not as good a True Sight as other ones. Just not.
Well, dude, the thing is, we know these characters already. Like watching this True Sight made me desperate for Puppy to make the grand finals of TI, just so that I can watch him in True Sight. Because like. What we loved was being introduced to these personalities. And like the first time we saw Kuro and those guys with the just like ultra calm demeanor. The first time we met the OG guys and we saw how fuck you doing it. First time we met those OG guys and we saw how ridiculously confident they were. Like that was the magic of True Sight. And because we knew all these characters and even the LGD guys, I loved watching them because of how fucking dismissive they were of Seb and his papers.
Yeah, no, all that stuff. But yeah, I feel like a lot of it we'd seen before.
Yep, I agree.
You know, but for all of that, you know, still great fun to watch. You know, I really felt the highlight for me, I think, was watching that for the moment from like game one. So I'll be honest, I actually don't remember the rest of the grand finals that well.
Right.
I remember game one. I remember Liquid throwing that and then like fucking up in the Roche pit, and being able to remember that, watch that again was just like crazy to me. Yeah, I don't know. It was crazy. And the other great question. So the other thing about True Sight that I really wonder about is we've had the question of, does True Sight plays to a narrative?
Yes.
Right. And so much of it, I wonder how much of the narrative is true and how much of it is editing.
Yeah.
You know, because we did get the narrative. We got the narrative again. OG, the same narrative. This time, I would say Liquid's narrative was a little bit of, I don't know, maybe not. I don't want to say discord between them. I don't think there was really discord, but just a little bit of unsettledness. Like they were unsure of themselves. They were a little like, I don't know, worried, discombobulated almost, you know.
Oh yeah, right. I mean, as tilted as those liquid guys could get. No, my read on them was, and like I found them like borderline painful to watch because to me they read as tired, just like straight up fatigued. And that LGD series, you remember when they went to the grand finals in 2017, like they picked off LFY and then they strutted into that grand finals against Newbie. And you could tell from the start that Newbie was just an inferior team.
Right.
They had a battle against LGD that they didn't squeak by them, but they won that battle. And then they were up against this juggernaut OG, and they knew that they were up against this juggernaut. And so like the power dynamic was completely different. And you saw it in game one where they fucked up, but then they were resilient enough. And then as games 2, 3, and 4 just wore on and they just kept getting beaten over and over, you could see that like that plus the fatigue taking its toll. And like, that's why for me, it was like borderline painful to watch.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true. Yeah, I mean, sorry. So what else around this? Like, let's talk, what was your favorite quote? There's some great quotes here.
Okay. I've got so many, so I'm only going to read you like 6 or 7. Okay.
You got to pick one. I want to hear your favorite one.
Oh, my favorite one was when Seb said, we got 5 games. We're allowed to throw one. It's part of the fun.
That was pretty good.
Yours?
I'm trying. I didn't have write down the particular quote. But I think like just the interaction between Seb and Anna, where Seb says you're the best Spectre player probably in this motherfucking stadium. That's a great one.
Yep.
Like Anna the whole back and forth, like, what should I go? And Seb's just like, what the fuck is wrong with you? You tell me what you're going, man.
Oh man. Dude, with some of the shit Seb was talking, like, oh, wee hot Tinker, that doesn't bully anyone. Like, don't ban Tinker, whatever. And then the other one, he says, like, if first picking tied TA was a thing, we would have known. That's how you get bottom 7 in the group stages, picking that shit. It was amazing shit talk.
Yeah, that was great shit talk. It was just all right. It was a fun ride. I just didn't quite feel as moved as I did in the previous one, like, or at least like as
absolutely,
like new thing like that.
Yeah, well,
but it's great, and I'm glad Valve did. I wish I honestly do you wish they did it? I mean, maybe they couldn't, but do you wish they did it sooner? I'm of two minds. On the one hand, I want to hear it sooner. On the other hand, like, there is like the space, I think, makes it better for the players, and also it's nice to like revisit things, right? If they do it like 2 weeks after TI, I'm not going to be like sitting there quite as interested, maybe.
No, you're exactly right, and I just remembered something that's going to help me illustrate this point, which was like, I hated every Harry Potter movie up until the 5th one, and I realized that one of the key variables was, first of all, the 5th Harry Potter movie was pretty good. And the
5th Harry Potter book is not as good. So.
Oh, I love the 5th Harry Potter book, but that's okay.
What?
Yeah.
You like whiny Harry?
I like the prophecy, dude. and Dumbledore's army. I love Dumbledore's army. Anyway, but like part of the reason I realized why I liked the movie so much is because like it had been 4+ years since I had read the book, and like in none of the other cases had I done that, and so like there, like the value in the distance, I think it would be easy to underestimate how much value there is in like forgetting a little bit about what happens.
Sure, absolutely.
The last thing I wanted to touch on was a lot has been made of Kuro saying like basically just shut the fuck up and do what I tell you after or before game 2, and I don't know, I'm kind of two minds about that. First of all, it was like these guys have a really strong relationship, and I think that Kuro is allowed to say like, you guys are talking a little bit too much, and like it's my job to make the calls, and I will make the calls. There was like the way they edited it, as you mentioned, Aden, there was an interesting moment where he said, just shut the fuck up and do what I tell you. And then in that game, there was a moment where he was like, just farm. And was scared to farm, and you could tell he was scared to farm, and you could also tell that he was scared to tell Kuro that he was scared to farm.
Sure.
And that was interesting. It was interesting.
Sure, but I think it was a good response. By the way, I thought in game 1, like, I mean, I actually thought at the time, I'm like, who is telling you to have 3 of you buy back and dive the Roche pit? Like, who is making that decision? And you watch the thing, and it's like, it's not Kuro being like, this is the plan. It's like mind control, and like other guys being like, wait, can we do this? Can we do this? I mean, I think it's so. Like, I think Kuro was right. I mean, like, maybe that's not how you say it, but like, I mean, like, but he's a great captain. I'll leave it to him. But yeah, It definitely was. Yeah. So.
Okay. Last quote was he picks Bristleback, and then they realize it's gonna be Miracle's hero, and Kuro's like, just turn your back on her. And he's like, I fucking know.
That was good. All
right, man.
All right. So
is
let's
there
talk.
anything else going on with OG? I feel like so they won.
Yeah. Then, so OG. By the way, shout out to OG's like media strategy. Like, they didn't announce all this shit one at a time. They did like one player retirement each day, gave them their moment leading up to True Sight, and they name the people coming and are joining the next day over spread over 2 days. Well, great media strategy right there. But look, we got to say goodbye to, 3 of the only 5 people to win 2 TIs. And by the way, we say goodbye. Jarex is planning on retiring permanently. That's the plan.
Yep.
Seb is stepping away to coaching. I don't know if he said. I mean, I think there's a chance he would come back if like things weren't working out.
Did it once.
Did once. And then we've got Anna, who is sitting out this year, and with the implication he's coming back next year. And if you think that's a guarantee, I've got some anything to sell you, really. Like, at that point, I feel like I can sell you anything.
I've got some Snapfire augmented reality goggles to sell you.
Sure. So they're all going away. I mean, and their legacy is crazy. I mean, so Jarex is sort of interesting because Jarex was the one who I think people knew was good, before OG, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So Jarek's had this legacy, and he's only cemented it. And I actually think in some ways he's less interesting because his legacy is not just OG. I mean, obviously that's his best outcome, but like he was good before that. You've got Anna, who obviously has only played for OG in any meaningful capacity, and is for best carry in the world, maybe best carry ever.
Yeah, you've made that case.
Like most talented. I think it's hard to argue against it. And then you've got Seb, who, and we really like Scansor, and he argued that Seb might be the best Dota player of all time. And I think that's a really interesting take.
Yeah,
let's talk about it.
Well, yeah, I mean, it comes down to like how much you value the intangibles, like building a team and motivating a team. And I mean, like it would be hard. Scant also has argued that this is what makes Puppy so strong, is the force of personality that makes everyone believe that they can win. And I mean, Seb is the perfect epitome of that. So I mean, there's a strong case to be made, especially that in the mental game, Seb is the best Dota player. But it's weird because when you use the word player, it sort of connotes what happened, who's the best at clicking and pressing the buttons, and there's just a lot more to it than that.
Right. So this goes back to a very similar debate, like LeBron James. Do you hold against it that LeBron James keeps getting his teams to give really terrible contracts to his friends? Does that make him less of a good player?
No,
it makes him right. So is Seb really the best player?
I'm not perfectly sensing the parallel here.
Well, what I'm saying is the outside of this team construction, the team attitude, right? Like, are we when we talk about LeBron James being the best player possibly ever, we're talking about his effect on players while he's on the court, the way he plays, and maybe some leadership stuff and everything like that. But he was arguably not a good team builder, right?
Well, I think those Miami Heat teams were decently built.
Sure, but actually, I think he had less impact there than when he was in Cleveland. Both of his Cleveland teams routinely overpaid players, and they still won, but one championship. But he was known for giving guys
you think,
despite his not his leadership, despite his GMing. There's
yeah, I got you.
He wants his friends to get. So I mean, if we don't hold it against him, can we really give it to Seb as a player?
Well, I do think the differences between Dota and basketball and the differences between Seb's role and LeBron's, I mean, are pretty significant. So, I mean, I don't fully buy the take that Seb is the best Dota player because you got the word player in there. But
sure,
I mean,
and it's hard to argue. It's hard to really argue that Seb automatically beats out No Tail, even if you are going to say that, all those intangibles matter.
Frankly.
Sure. I don't think it is, but I think it's an interesting take, and I think there's an argument to be made there. That's not it's not a ridiculous take at all.
It is not a ridiculous take, right? And what I think it comes down to is how much you value the intangibles that are adjacent to the game, like the communication, and the psychology. And I value those highly, and that's why I put Seb high on my list of best players ever.
Sure.
I don't know if he's number one or not because I'm too afraid to make the list right now.
Sure. All right, so we're saying goodbye to some great players. Let's talk about who they picked up. So totally. The thing is they picked up the 3 mid-player monster. This is like your pub game, right? Where 3 people mark mid, and then you roll for it. I'm pretty sure that's how they're going to do it. That's what I heard.
They all rolled 99.
We got Sumail coming in for theoretically playing position 1 and mid 1 playing an off lane. Tell me, Lorton. Which of those players think is going to adjust faster?
Oh, mid 1 is, in my opinion, because his role with Team Secret was closer to the 3 position than many mid players.
Sure. I mean, he got a little S4
playing offlane Monkey King.
Right. He's got a little S4 in him.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
And
that's not to say I think Sumail is going to suck as a carry, but I think Sumail's adjustment is going to be more significant because he's always been a mid player.
Well, I mean, he played. I mean, except for when he played for Chaos before they were Chaos.
That does not count. That absolutely does not count.
Okay, but hold on. Your argument for mid 1 being because he's always been kind of a position 3.
No,
Sumail was always kind of a position 1 for EG for many of those years. So I'm not, but I agree with you. I think mid 1 is an ideal. He's got plenty of experience on playmaking heroes like Tiny or Earthshaker. Yes. I don't know, Earthshaker mid is different, but he's got that background. I think both those are really, really good pickups, and I think OG is in a. Who knows? Maybe they won't put it together. Maybe Thompson will go back to regular season form instead of TI form, which is just totally different. For unclear reasons why. Who knows? Maybe they won't pull it off. But I don't. I mean, I'm not. Those two guys are about as good a pair of pickups as they could possibly have hoped for. Right.
Question: Are they? Do you believe that we're going to see them at 3 majors?
So
they have the personnel.
I assume Secret's gonna be better in the regular season than them.
Mm-hmm.
Just because that's how the Secret's built.
For sure.
They're a finely tuned machine. OG is not built that way to dominate qualifiers the same way.
Yes.
So they have to beat Enigma, Alliance, and Liquid.
Yep.
They have to beat 2 of those 3.
Mm-hmm.
Or they could go through the minor.
Given.
They go for the minor. I would say at least 50-50 they go to all 3.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I'm with there.
65% they go to all 3. I'm putting it there.
But it's not a guarantee.
Yep. Yeah. All right. So then there's the other pickup is Sox at position 4.
I think it's pronounced Saska. Isn't that right, MG Wisney?
It's not. All right. Whatever. Fuck off. Okay. So this is one I'm more skeptical about. So Soxa went to a grand finals, TI grand finals with DC.
I feel like everything before TI7 is no longer relevant. Sorry to say.
That's kind of true. And then he played for NIP, who were pretty average. And was he in the top 2 players in any of those teams?
I think we were pretty consistent in our faint praise of him.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I mean, like, he's not going to be fair, this is a team where if Sumail, Mid 1, and Thompson are playing anywhere near their caliber, your 4 and 5 position can just have to, like, stand back and not fuck things up. Yeah. Or do nothing, like literally nothing positive or negative. As long as they're not like fucking them, it's fine. But that one was a little interesting to me. But who knows? We'll see. I mean, it's possible he will have a calming effect. I mean, because Sumail, I don't know. I don't want to say he's excitable because I don't actually know him, but he's got a play style that seems a little excitable.
Sure. No, I agree with that.
So yeah, who knows? I mean, I like the team. I'm excited to see them play. Although I do think we should make the note not to overestimate their the importance of the first qualifiers. If it doesn't go well, we should not panic. No panic.
Exactly, like LGD.
Yeah. All right. Anything else to say on OG True Sight?
No, I'm good. I want the next True Sight to come out pretty soon.
Yeah. All right, Lorton. We've got another sponsor. I'm going to talk. This is a new sponsor. Even you don't know. I just got the email from them. Wow. So, do you remember, like, way back at the beginning of Dota, like we were all playing Dota together, how exciting getting a new skin was?
Oh, for sure.
Like
back when there were only like 3 skins per hero.
Right. Like I got Flutter. I remember getting Flutter Mortis on DP or the Hellhound mount for Chaos Knight. Both sick.
Yeah.
These days, it's just not as much fun, right? Like we have so many old skins. Like I get new ones, and I'm like, oh, well, actually, that's not better than anything I've got. Yeah. So I just have so many I'm never going to use again. I feel like there's a lot of Dota players out there like that. Well, now there's a solution. Our friends and new sponsors, SkinSwap, have set up a new website for you to donate old or unwanted skins so that new players can have that same experience of brand new looks that we had all those years ago. This is a perfect time to head over to skinswap.com to donate, or if you're feeling particularly generous and you want to donate up to 15 full sets, they will let you adopt the new Dota 2 player. When you do, they'll send you pictures of the new player's chosen looks so you can know exactly where your skins went. Okay? Thanks, Skinshare, for making Dota a more fun place and appealing to newbies. Disclaimer, please don't go to skinswap.com. I was too afraid to find out what that website actually is. I'm pretty sure it's not safe for work. Don't go. Promise. Seriously.
I'm going to make a similar joke. I really like the touch though about you get a picture of the person like enjoying their new skin. It's like you ever sponsored a kid from Honduras to like go to school.
Right. Sure.
You get a letter from him.
Adopt a tiger. Yeah, no, absolutely. Thought you'd like that one.
Great work by you, Aden.
All right, Lorton. We're just about out of time. Let's farm one more wave and get some last hits in. Lorton C9 picked up a team. Shockingly, it was not with EE or anybody else. It's a brand new roster. They've got Skem, VT Faded, Misery at the 3 position, Flea at the 4, and Pile Die at the 5. Lorton, of those 3 core positions, which are you most skeptical of?
Okay, so it'd be easy to make the case that Misery is the one to be most skeptical of. And I mean, we have shat on Misery as recently, I think, as the last episode. And the last time he played offlane at a high level was Team Secret. I think that was 2016. But for me, actually, I am most skeptical of Skem. His most relevant moment in all of Pro Dota history was helping Complexity get top 6 at a minor. He's been on 4 teams in the last year, so kind of just keeps bouncing around. I hope this is the start of his turnaround, but you can understand why I would be skeptical that it is.
I think it's totally fair.
Aden, Dendy announced his new team, B8. Any idea what B8 means or even how you're supposed to pronounce it?
Lorton, are you even sure that B8 is a new team? I read that as bait. I think he's baiting us. Are we sure Dendy has a new team?
Oh, see, I remember the soccer guys at our college would say bait because they thought masturbate was too many syllables. So
hey, I was on the soccer team. I never heard that.
Maybe it was a small subset of them.
Sure. Okay. I'm just questioning. I feel baited. Lorton, from our alert, you've been watching me for the last hour, so unless you think I'm really talented,
I have not been watching you. Go ahead.
Okay. Lorton, from alert listener Dark Sea, if any powerhouse teams don't qualify for TI, for example, LGD, particularly the ones that didn't take the extended break, do you think it's likely that the new formula of taking the break, missing 1 or 2 majors is no longer followed? Or will teams that do well at TI always take a long break post-TI?
I think the teams that are really confident, like the Team Secrets of the world, will say, we'll take a break whenever we want to take a break. But I do think this will put the fear of God into a couple of people, and I wouldn't be surprised, as alert listener Infraction suggested, that they might instead decide to sit out the 2nd or the 3rd major of the season instead of the 1st, so they get those qualifying points, and then they can have their regional qualifiers anytime they want.
Absolutely.
All right, Aden, from alert listener and server booster Josh, I think it'd be really awesome if you guys could talk about how to get into Dota. This person has played a lot of video games, but not Dota. Maybe give new players some places to look and specific things to practice. You could maybe even explain and define some basic Dota terms. Aden, where would you start with that?
All right. Well, let's start with some Dota terms because I think this is important here. Okay. Yeah. So creep, that, for example, is someone who hits on women while they're at the gym.
Oh yeah, good call. You got to know what a creep is.
Got to know what a creep is.
You should probably know what a hero is, Josh. Hero, that's what most of the sports media is portraying Kobe Bryant as right now.
Sure. Wards, some countries use this to mean district or neighborhood. Like there are wards in Tokyo. Oh, yeah, there are also wards in DC. I'm in ward. Actually, I don't know what ward I'm in. 5 maybe? Sure. But there are 8 wards in DC. I know the total, even if I don't know which one I'm in.
So yeah, you're going to hear about wards in Dota. Now you understand. Obviously, you should know what TP is. People will talk about TP in the chat. That's toilet paper. Like, do you have TP? Yep.
Absolutely. Flaming or flame. Okay. Flame is a really, really cute dog. I know. I spam it. That's why everyone knows about Flame. It's a really cute dog. You want me to send you it? Lorton, you know about Flame, right?
Yeah.
I posted in the Discord. It's cool. Then you can know about it.
Yep, totally. People talk about like strength or agility or intelligence. Some of those, like you would think you know those terms, but not necessarily. Like intelligence is actually a mental property where you can tell how smart someone is by how much they heed the advice that they hear on a podcast.
Yes, absolutely. Which way does it go though?
More intelligence is better.
Does that mean you listen to the podcast or not? Which way does it go?
It depends which podcast you're heeding advice from.
Fair enough. But no, actually, jokes aside, Dota's hard to get into, especially because when I got into Dota, no one knew what the fuck they were doing because there wasn't a professional team. There wasn't a professional scene that everyone knew about to watch.
Yep.
So I floundered on. I had no idea what the hell I was doing. I bought Battle Fury on every hero.
Loved Battle Fury, dude.
Every hero.
He's got
Don't do that.
HP regen, the mana regen, the cleave.
Yeah, great farming, great sustain, just great. So the reality is that it's harder to get into now. On the other hand, it's easier to get good because you actually have other people like can explain what it is. Like I feel like the first like a couple hundred games are worse, but then the next ones are better. Right? Because you're actually able to learn because there's resources out there. The real basic idea is if you want to get into Dota, get a couple friends. That'll make it better.
Yeah,
ideally someone who's played before who can give you a little bit of tips here and there. Play some bot games, no harm in that, and watch Purge stuff.
Yeah, Purge is an amazing dude. You'll find him on YouTube at Purge Gamers. He has a written guide called it used to be called Welcome to Dota, You Suck, but now I think it's just called Purge's Dota 2 Guide. Yeah, his stuff is excellent. Like he is in the top, 0.5% of Dota players in the world, but for whatever reason, he has the empathy to remember what it was like when he didn't understand the game as well as he did. And so, yeah, his ability to explain, I think, is very good. And he has a YouTube series called Day 9 Learns Dota. Day 9, also a very famous YouTuber who was a StarCraft player and then transitioned to Dota is just like as a content idea. And Day 9 Learns Dota would be a great series to watch.
Sure. Absolutely. Great. All right, Lorton, we are out of time. From MG Wisney, there's a question from the Discord. There's a lot of great multimedia content being created in the Dota scene right now, with the majority of new content being podcasts. Do you think there's room for, what, fuck it, Lorton, I want you to ask me this question. I have a great idea.
Aden, do you think there's room for more varied content? If so, what aspects of Dota would you like to see more coverage of? While you're thinking about that, I'll remind our listeners, you want to get in on our next watch party or try to share an Airbnb in Stockholm? Join our Discord. You can find the link at glimpsepod.com. Remember to follow Aden on Twitter at OmegaManDota. Follow me on Twitter at SharkButler. And thanks to audio engineer Jason Bates, who gets 100% of the proceeds of every t-shirt you buy. And you can find his portfolio if you want to hire him as a real audio engineer at batessound.com. All right, Aden, what kind of Dota content do you want to exist that doesn't exist already?
All right, so I've been hankering for this for a while. So you guys remember What the Horse, where they would have like they would have situations you had to bet on what would happen. I want the same format, but I want it to be serious. I want them to set up a team fight, and then I want Cinderin to look at it and be like, "All right, so this is looking at the dire position and what their vision is. This is what I think they should do. This is how they should have approached the fight, right? This is how the Radiant should have approached the fight given their vision. Let's actually watch and see what they did, whether it was right or wrong, and what the consequences were, right? And maybe even like predict who's going to win this team fight. So like, based on what I see here, Dire should not have taken this team fight because of this reason, and this reason. I think it'd be really educational. I think it'd be interesting to have a couple pros sit there and talk about these team fights and being like, and they wouldn't have to be necessarily pro games. Like you'd like get content, like, get high level. You probably don't want like Archon games because like there's gonna be misplays, but like, Immortal games and just like go through and like pick a couple instead. I think that would be really cool. I would watch that really intently because I think it'd be really informative.
I like it. And in my opinion, by the way, still the premier Dota 2 highlight show has not been created yet. Like, and I get it's hard, but like what I want is the 2020 version of Stuart Scott to be like, Abed zipping in from downtown, boom, and I want Sports Center over Dota highlights, and I haven't seen it done yet.
I bet you yours would appeal to more people than mine.
I don't know. I would watch anything Stuart wants to do.
But we're not normal.
Right.
There you go. All right. Until next time, y'all.
Hold on.
Oh, thanks. Sorry.
Thank you for trusting me, Aden. Sorry I failed you.
I don't know what this is referring to.
Because you didn't watch the last 4 minutes of True Sight.
I know. I didn't watch the last 4 minutes. I got caught up. Sorry, folks. I'll get around to it. All right. Until next time, this is Aden Richards. Back you go.
Right. For such a meaty episode, I feel like 118 is a very respectable time.
Yep. It actually was one of the reasons why I didn't love What the Horse as much as I thought I was going to, because I really thought it was going to be like more real. I thought it was going to be like more real. I was like, oh my god, this is so cool. They're gonna like guess what's going to happen in this team fight based on the positioning, and it's like, does Pudge hook his own asshole? Who knows? It's